Hello and welcome. Today we're taking a look at Ro, a Modlist created by Third Eye Squeegee, released for the Skyrim Anniversary Edition. This Modlist attempts to bring together the greatest graphical mods while staying true to vanilla gameplay. So on the agenda, we'll talk about the downloads and the size, graphics, some prominent mods, and some performance in FPS. We'll talk a bit about gameplay and combat, and we'll tour through some of the most beautiful locations in Skyrim. So let's get ready. Let's go ahead and start with performance. If you don't like this kind of stuff, I put timestamp in the description, so you are free to skip around. And right now I have an overlay of all the stats, and we're gonna take a look at different cities and different areas. For the specs wise, I am running a AMD Ryzen 7700X, undervolted just a little bit so it can decrease the heat and temperature. GPU is a NVIDIA RTX 4070 Super, 12 gigs of RAM. But in Whiterun, we're getting around like 55 FPS. Now, GPU is still kind of slightly underused. It's only at 80 something percent max, which most likely means that my CPU somewhere, it's being lagging behind. The 7700X has a 8 cores, 16 logical processors, and that's why you see so many numbers like core and core 1 all the way to 8, and then a bunch of other numbers. And you see some of the cores are kind of going up to 78 something percent, while the GPU is kind of sitting there just at 78 something percent, waiting for the CPU to kind of catch up, because Skyrim is very, very CPU intensive. So let's go ahead and change it to a different city. Okay, so we are now in Solitude, still at nighttime. That is quite beautiful torch you got there, buddy. So what's interesting is before I undervolted my CPU, I was getting about like 10 FPS less, but ever since undervolting, seems to be, oh, of course the CPU runs cooler, and I'm getting just more FPS, and it feels more smooth. And I think that has to do with the CPU before, straight out the box, it was running really, really hot. Maybe because the CPU was thermal throttling before. That fire is looking so beautiful. Wow. Okay, that's looking quite beautiful. Look at those clouds, man. Let's go ahead and test a little bit of combat. I have God mode enabled, so yeah, so that way I can kind of still concentrate, talk, and do all this stuff. Let me see what's going on here. Take a look at the FPS. There's a lot of numbers going on here. Fist punch. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen any drops, and the screen's kind of moving around. Sorry, I didn't want to make you guys nauseated. What's that word? Nauseating? Yeah, even in the fast pace, FPS is still pretty normal. Let's try to run. I'm running. Here we go. Yeah. Okay, so Riften is usually pretty CPU and GPU intensive. Let's take a look at that. Okay, pigeons. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that in real life too. Where I'm from, and they eat everything. Sweet Ro. Yeah, Riften is doing okay. It's not in this particular area. The VRAM, it's still only about 10.2 gigabytes out of 12. Yeah, this mod list is actually really, really decent. Because other mod lists like, you know, Lower Rim 2.0, which I love so much, there's it's very, very intensive. You're getting drops on the same 4070 Super and the same Ryzen 7700X to around like 39. Now, of course, I'm not saying that there's anything bad about Lower Rim. It's actually one of my favorite, but it is very intensive. Whereas the Modlist Ro is actually very, very good. And I do apologize for the camera moving around so much so quickly, but I'm doing it on purpose just so I can see the performance drops or anything. So yeah, avert your eyes for a little. Let me spin around a little bit faster so you don't get nauseated. Yeah, so even spinning around, it's FPS is still stable. Do that in Lower Rim and you're done. Your computer's gonna go to a different dimension. Right now we're in Fog Wreath, also known as Fuck Wreath, because sometimes it fucks with this FPS. But I do remember this place, especially if you add some bunch of heavy EMBs and everything else, the FPS just drops. But this one seems to be very good still. 51 FPS on average, not too bad. VRAM is still 11 gigabytes. CPU cores is still, you know, I guess within normal range, however you'd find normal. Okay, so let's check out we are in, let's head towards Dawnstar. Yeah, so Dawnstar typically is another heavy area, because I guess because all the fog and the snow and stuff, but yeah, it doesn't seem too bad right now. Still 51 on average FPS. I see some of the cores hitting like 71%. VRAM still 10.5 gigs. I do remember this area sometimes like just being so heavy that it's like it crashes. Yeah, let me know if there's any section you guys want to see in terms of future videos where what cities are heavy. Because I do know certain places like, for example, Whiterun, Riften, Dawnstar, Fuckreath, those are pretty much like some heavy cities. So Windhelm, the city of FPS Eater. Ah, see, I remember this area, just killing me a long time ago. Yeah, I mean the VRAM isn't being utilized like to the max, because I notice every time the VRAM goes up to like the max of your GPU, it tends to like slow down the game so much. But right now we're at 10 gigs out of 12 gigs. Okay, so we are outside. I want to see typically what outside looks like, and same thing, yeah, FPS is still there. 52 on average. Right now VRAM is not being utilized very much, 9.1 GB. Wow, that one is beautiful. So in conclusion, performance-wise, Ro seems to be very, very consistent with the FPS when compared to, let's say, other heavy hitters in Modlist. And like I said, I like to talk about lower rim because it really pushes the limits. So when I say that lower rim, for example, is performance intensive, it's not a bad thing. If you have the specs to run it, it's the most beautiful Modlist I've ever seen. But Ro overall, in comparison wise, Ro is very, very stable. In terms of FPS, in terms of performance, I don't really get too many hard dips. Size and download, it is a big one. It's about 160 gigabytes for the download itself, and about 230 for the installation folder. But after the installation, you can delete the downloaded zip files. Just make sure you go into the installation folder first, test it out by running mod organizer, and everything as well. Go ahead and delete and save yourself some space. Graphics wise, we have complex parallax features and Rudy's EMB for NAT, natural atmospheric Tamriel. Rudy EMB, in my opinion, is a good blend in the middle ground. It's not exactly super bright like Cabbage EMB, but it's not actually super cool and cold like Dawnfire EMB. And of course, EMB will always be up to the player's kind of personal preference. What might look really, really good for me might look disgusting for you, which is absolutely okay. That's why we have various different flavors of EMB around. So the nighttime in certain parts, like places in Riften with these beautiful birch trees, in contrast to the other types of green leaf trees, paint a very, very kind of atmospheric ambiance, if that is even a word you can put together. So if you're looking for something a little bit darker at nighttime, you might have to make your own adjustments. But overall, I feel like this is a good middle ground. It is a little bit difficult to show on YouTube, but the fog actually looks really, really good. If you're looking at YouTube through this, all you can see is like a hazy layer, but in the real game, it actually makes you feel like it is a little bit wet and slightly humid. Skyrim during the daytime is always my favorite because it offers this fantastical feeling of, I don't know if I want to call it happiness. Bro is still trying to shoot at that spider. How many times has he missed? Bro, a little bit of advice. If you're missing like 5 shots in a row, maybe it's time to make some adjustments. See, there you go. And he swims away. No, wait, is he swimming? Yeah, he's swimming away. See, sometimes it's better just to punch your problems away than shoot at it. One thing that the Modlist does extremely well is kind of change the atmosphere and makes you feel certain feelings depending on the weather. It depends on the time of day. In the morning, in the afternoon, it's very bright and vivid. but during the nighttime it feels very gloomy, which is like in such a stark contrast to each other. And if a modlist or any game in particular, whoa, that's a huge bear. Okay, if a modlist or any game in particular can create that kind of stark contrast of nighttime and daytime, you know, gloomy versus happiness, then it did an extremely good job of putting everything else together. If you want to have a really good time and just be completely immersed, definitely get a good pair of headphones. I'm trying to talk here, bro. I'm trying to talk here. Oh, the physics is great. Physics is great. Let's punch him. Oh my god. Okay. The blend of the water is good because it's not this super duper bright blue color. And it's not super duper clear because in real life, real water isn't, it has algae. It's unlikely that you can find, you know, pristine, clean, super clear patches of water. The grass mods is a very good mixture of many mods put together. You have Origins of the Forest, Folkvengar, Skoglendi, and many others. It meshes together really well, and you know, it creates a sort of overabundant growth. You know, Skyrim, when it's super busy with all the flora and fauna put together, it creates a much more vibrant and atmospheric feel. Skoglendi is a really great grass mod, although I can understand why some people don't like it because of how straight and somewhat plastic certain grasses can look like. One thing I do not miss about the original Skyrim was that in some places the grass was so sparse it just looked like a barren desert. But when you add the proper mix of grass mods together and they blend in really well, it does make you feel like you're walking in this huge patch of grassland. I think there's a giant behind me, isn't there? Oh, look at this cute little mammoth. Hello? Hello there. His mom's gonna run me over, watch. There is a beautiful part about this mod list that some people might not like just because of a personal preference. The mod Fabled Forest adds these humongous trees, and while they're beautiful, they do block. Oh, good god. Oh my god. And while they are extremely beautiful, you know, they block your view, so you can't really see what's in the far spaces. Like, for example, Whiterun right there. Right there, that's Dragon's Reach all the way in the front. Let me check, is that the right one? I'm looking at that, my arrow. Yeah, I'm looking at Dragon's Reach. And the trees, they kind of block it. And so, in the original Skyrim, you could see Whiterun and Dragon's Reach from very far away. But the Fabled Forest, it takes that away. So it's not inherently bad, it's just a different kind of feeling that you have. So that is one thing to keep in mind. And of course, if you don't like it, you can always change it around, disable, add some new ones. But you know, the whole point of a mod list is to experience everything out the box. So I think some super beginner to modders might not like that. See, right here is an area in which the giant fabled trees can make the place almost unrecognizable. This here is Riverwood. In the back of Riverwood, if you turn around, here's an entrance. And if we look at back here, it's almost unrecognizable from vanilla Skyrim. It really demonstrates and kind of makes the point of that these giant trees, they seem so small at first, figuratively, but overall they really change Skyrim, making it almost completely unrecognizable if at first glance. I mean, just look at all that wood. Look how big and thick and tall and giant it is. Combat is using blade and blunt for the combat overhaul and then mysticism for the magic system. I'm finding myself having extremely a lot of fun with the hand-to-hand combat mod, where it adds in your skill line. In the hand-to-hand combat, it adds in a bunch of really extremely fun things to do in terms of unarmed combat. Like, you have more damage with you know, when you're using your hands, you can move faster. You have your power attacks that do 50% more damage, and you can resist even more damage. You know, your unarmed power attacks, they do 50% more damage to targets who fall below half health. So and a chance to basically knock down enemies when they fall below half health. So the blade and blunt system combat overhaul, I think it's quite of a interesting and challenging take, because now resource management becomes extremely important. You have to really watch and be careful of your stamina and your magicka, especially your stamina. So with your stamina, you'll notice that it drains very, very quickly. All you have to do is pull down and keep holding your bow and the arrow. If you look in the top left, your stamina bar will start draining just by pulling back the arrow. So you have to be really, really careful in terms of your resource management. And mysticism is a super duper magic overhaul. There's basically hundreds of bug fixes and balance adjustments to the vanilla Skyrim spell, and it adds in almost 200 new spells to the game's vendors and loot. So definitely check the mysticism out if you like magic of any kind. I'm more of a sword punching people kind of guy. If there's a problem, all you gotta do is fist your way out of it. I don't know if that means something else. If you like dogs, you're gonna like this mod that's included in the mod list. Straight out the box, very, very cool. You get a pet companion. We are in Solitude, here at the Docks East Empire Company warehouse. If you travel here, it'll say dog for sale. Loyal, brave, cunning, and fierce. 500 septims, or best offer. Look right there. Here's Gladys. I think that's Gladys, right? Does anybody? Please correct me. I've never met a Gladys in my life. Okay, we'll talk to her. Hello. This dog for sale?
Yes. For 500 septims, she can be yours.
You can actually persuade and negotiate. That's pretty cool. Okay, I'll take her. 500.
How about you come back when you actually have the gold?
I don't have the gold, bro.
You know where to find me if you change your mind.
Do I have any persuasion?
Looking to do some trading? Yes. For 500 septims. 500. Take it or leave it.
I don't have persuasion. Okay, this is gonna... Yeah, I'm dirt poor right now. Okay, girl, I got some gold. I got a little bit more gold now. Well, hello there. Come with me. Wow, that shield looks incredible, bro. Where can I get one of those? That's a bear. There you go. See, yeah. There you go. That's a cute girl, huh? That's a cute girl. Oh, there she goes. She's biting him behind the butt. Oh my god. Okay, I need her level her up. No. You don't touch Gladys. You don't touch Gladys. Nuh-uh. Punch you in the butt. You okay? You good? You good? Okay, that flame is so beautiful. Oh, she actually got a hit in. She got a hit. Oh, she got him. No. Oh, Gladys. That fire is so beautiful. You got her. Good job. That's a good girl. Okay. Such a good girl. You want a treat? I don't have a treat. I'm a failure of a pet owner. So we are reaching the end, and I want to thank you all for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or maybe problems installation, and we'll see what we can do. No promises, but I've been there with many issues. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time. This Nern root is making a lot of noise right now. You know, if you harvest it, it no longer makes that noise.